Simon Anthony of Cracking The Cryptic made a video called The Sudoku Trick All Expert Solvers Know, where he showed how to solve a hard puzzle from the New York Times. Do you want to know what that expert trick is? Stay tuned. I'll tell you that, along with giving you 3 pause the video moments, including one where you can find something that Simon overlooked in his solving. Let's get started. Greetings, friend. Timberlake here from Smart Hobbies. I chose to cover this particular puzzle because it's the most popular Classic Sudoku video on Cracking the Cryptic, clocking in at over 1.6 million views, which also makes it the 3rd most popular video overall on their channel. I'll put a link to the original video in the description below. And with that, it's solving time. Simon starts out with some Snyder notation, which is a technique where you mark in blocks where a particular candidate can be in only 2 possible cells. And so he looks across rows 1 and 3 and sees that here in block 1 that there's only 2 spots for a 1. And then he looks down here with these 7s and notices there's only 2 spots for a 7 here. And then he looks up in column 4 and notices that there's 2 2s here, another 2 here. There's only 2 spots for a 2 right there. And then he comes across and sees there's 2 6s in column 7 and 8. So there's only 2 spots for a 6 up here in block 3. And then for 9s, column 1, he comes down, he sees there's a 9 here, 9 here. So there's only 2 spots for a 9 in block 1. At this point, it's about 2 minutes in the video, Simon highlights all of block 1, and asks if there's anything interesting about it. He points out that row 3 of block 1 is empty. There's no cells in there, no marked cells. And then he asks for the 2, the 3, and the 6, where can these numbers go in row 3? Well, you see the 3's there, but where can the 2 and the 6 go? And so just like Simon offered, I ask you to pause the video and see if you can place the 2 and the 6 into row 3. I'll give you a few seconds. Okay, congratulations if you spotted it. For those of you who just want to enjoy the show, the 2 and the 6 go in columns 4 and 9. That is a hidden pair. And what it means is there could be other candidates there, but since the 2 and the 6 can't be anywhere else in row 3, they have to be in these 2 spots, and only the 2 and the 6 can be in those 2 spots. He says this is a common trick found in the New York Times. We'll have this configuration, but this is not the trick he's talking about for this video. However, it does allow us to solve the rest of row 3. So Simon points out that there's 3 digits left here in row 3, and those 3 digits are a 5, 8, and 9. All right, but what you'll notice is that the 9 and the 8 are here in column 2, so this has to be the 5. And so the 9 right here means that this would have to be the 9 and this is the 8. And then by doing that, Simon removed the mark of the 9 right there. And so what Simon notices now, if you place the 8s here, that the 8s are limited to 2 spots here in block 7, which is right there. But then he comes across and notices with the 7s that now the 7s up here in block 1 can only be in columns 1 and 3. But then coming across with these 2 7s in rows 4 and 5, the 7s can only be in these 2 spots in block 4. And so with that, the 7s cannot be in column 2 in either block 1 or block 4. So the 7s have to be here in column 2 of block 7. And so that is called a claiming pair. And this is the trick that Simon's talking about. Because what you'll notice now is that there's 2 7s here in block 7. The 7 can only be in 2 places here in block 8, and they're in the same rows 8 and 9. So in this case, a 7 has to either be here and here, or here and here. Either case, the 7s will take out the rest of rows 8 and 9. So in this block, block 9, the 7s cannot be in rows 8 or 9. They have to be up here in row 7. And so this little claiming pair, or it works just like an X-wing, This is the trick Simon's talking about. So after placing these 7s, Simon looks up here and notices that the 6 in row 1 and column 5 now limits the 6s to just these 2 spots in block 2. So you place the 6 there, and then this is called a pointing pair. So now the 6 is coming down here in column 4, and the 6 right here in column 5 means the 6 is limited to 1 spot here in block 8. So this has to be a 6. And then Simon keeps his focus down here in the bottom of the grid and notices that the 2 comes across row 7 and there's a 2 down column 2. So it limits the 2 to 2 spots in block 7, so right here. And with that, you now have another pointing pair. So the 2s are here, and there's a 2 up here in row 7. So that means the 2s are limited to 2 spots in block 9. And then Simon looks up into block 3, notices that there's a 2 coming across row 2, and so the 2 is limited to 2 spaces here in block 3. And then similar like what we have with the 7s, now the 2s are limited here in block 3 and block 9 to 2 columns, column 7 and 9. So the 2 cannot be in column 8 here in block 3 or in block 9. So that means in column 8, in block 6 here, a 2 has to be in one of these 2 spots. Well, you see a 2 coming across row 5, so this 2 in block 6 has to be right here. And so Simon marks that. Then he cuts across and sees a 2 in row 6 and row 5. Means there's only 1 space left for a 2 here in block 4. And then you'll notice with the 2 here in now column 1 and column 2, that eliminates this 2 and leaves only 1 space left for a 2 down here in block 7. And the next move that Simon makes is actually pretty cool. Because in this situation, you have to kind of know where to look next in the grid. And so Simon points out, it's like, I'm going to look where there is the most restriction. And so he notices row 4 has 6 cells filled in. So there's got to be some kind of restriction here. So he starts scanning across row 4. And he notices that there's a 1 that's covering this spot, and there's a 1 covering this spot. So there's only 1 place left for a 1 here in row 4, and it's right there. And then that leaves a naked pair for the rest of row 1. So the 2 digits left are a 3 and an 8. And after marking these naked pairs, Simon notices right away he can actually solve for these 2 because he sees this 8 coming across row 6. Now notice this 8 cuts out all, that 8 can't be in any more spots here in block 5 except for this spot right here. So we can mark that as an 8, which makes this 3. And so after marking this 3, Simon notices with the 3s here in column 8 and 9 that 3s are limited here in block 9 to those 2 spots. Then he also notices this 1 coming down, that the 1s are limited to these 2 spots here in block 6. And then these 1s are also a pointing pair. So with this 1 in row 4 and these 2 1s, the 1s cannot be right here in block 4. They have to be here, which creates another naked pair. Now in this case, after Simon made that spot, he noticed that there was another hidden pair. So pause the video and see if you can spot the hidden pair that Simon found. Well, I'll give you a few seconds. And it's not here. I'll give you a hint. It's in column 2. Okay. Congratulations if you spot it. You're getting really good at seeing these hidden pairs. For those of you who just want to enjoy the show, there's a hidden pair, 1 and 7, here in column 2. So now we know that the 1s are limited to columns 1 and 3 in block 1 and in block 4. That means 1s have to be here in column 2 in block 7. And so by filling in this hidden pair, you can now solve the remaining cell in column 2. And so we know that this is a 4. And then Simon went and saw the 4 in rows 4 and 5, and there's only 1 space left for a 4 here in block 6, so that's a 4. And then with the 4 in column 7 and column 9, there's 2 spots here to mark a 4, which is right there and right there. And then Simon went up here and started looking across the top again. You notice that an 8 came across row 1, and now we have an 8 here in column 5. So there's only one, and then an 8 here in row 3. There's only one space left for an 8 in block 2, which is right here. So you mark that as an 8, and then since we had the Snyder notation, he was able to mark this for a 6 right away. And then he was able to solve for a 2 right here, since we just took out the 2. And then he was able to solve for 2 right here to finish off row 3. And he got rid of that marking. And then Simon glanced down and saw there's a 2 in column 9 and column 8. So he was able to solve for 2 right here, because that marking was gone. But he started to focus down here, and he missed an easy solve. So pause the video right now and see if you can find the hidden single that Simon missed. Okay, congratulations if you spotted it. You noticed something that an expert Sudoku solver needs to find when doing this. For those who just want to enjoy the show, he missed putting this 6 right here in row 2, column 9. Many viewers put in the comments how it drove him nuts that Simon missed this. I call these a screamer cell because when I see one of these, I'll be screaming at the screen to try to let the solver know, see if he or she can figure it out and put it in there. But one technique to make sure you don't miss a screamer cell like this is when you're making the solve, you do something that Sudoku guy has mentioned before, and I'll credit to him. You'll say, you make a solve like here, and then you say, all right, look up, look down, look left, look right. What do you got? And normally in that case, you'll be able to solve some of these others. So when he's solving the 2 right here, he could be looking up and down and notice, oh, there's only 1 6 pencil mark left here. I could solve that for 6. At this point, Simon looks and notices there's only 3 cells to fill in block 6. So he fills those in, and it's at a 1, 8, 9. And so he fills them all in, but then he notices, hey, there's a 1 and a 9 right here. So this is actually an 8. And then he can remove the 8s from here. And so this is a 1, 9 naked pair. And after filling in the 1, 9s here, he comes across and notices that there's a 3, 5 missing. He sees the 3 down here, so this has to be a 5, and that has to be a 3. Then Simon checks the 5s in columns 1 and 2 and sees there's only 1 space left for a 5, block 7. Then he cuts across and sees that the 5 in row 7 and the 5 in column 7 means there's only 2 spots left for a 5 here in block 9. Then Simon notices that with this 4 coming in column 2, that the 4s are limited here. So this is another naked pair of 4, 8. And then he sees that since there's a 4 here in column 1 in row 7 and 9 in block 7, and then there's a 4 here in block 9 and rows 7, 9, he points out that the 4s are limited to right here in columns 5 and 6 here in block 8. Again, this is that trick again of the claiming pairs, and which works kind of like an X-wing. Then Simon looks over here and goes to see that the 5 is coming up column 7, so he marks 5s right there, and these are kind of now a pointing pair. Takes out a 5 from this spot, so he marks the 5s here in block 2. And so then Simon marks this as a 4, 9 by value cell. Notices as a restricted cell because the 5s can no longer be there. At this point, he finally comes back over and notices that 6 can be solved for 6 here in row 2, column 9. Now, if he had solved it earlier, then he could have solved this 5 right away. But since he didn't notice it, it delayed him a little bit. It took him about 5 minutes to figure that one out. But now you come down here and realize that that's not a 5, so the 5 has to be right there. And you can remove the 5 from here. And then with the 5s in row 7 and 8, it limits the 5s to 2 spots here in row 9. And then Simon goes up and he starts to fill out the rest of block 3, noticing that this has to be 7 or 9, naked pair. And then he looks through and notices that he comes here to row 5 and says, oh, this is a naked pair, pointing pair. This can no longer be a 9. And so he solves this for a 1 and that for a 9. And then, Simon's moving far along. He comes down here and finishes this naked pair of 1 and 4 in column 8. Then notices that there's only one spot left to solve in column 9, which is at 7. And removes a 7 from right here. And then he fills out the rest of block 9, showing this is a 3-8 naked pair. And I brought you to our third and final pause the video moment. Using the same logic Simon's been demonstrating throughout the video, pause the video now and see if you can find where an 8 goes in block 8 while I give you a few seconds. Okay, congratulations if you spotted it. You are a master at finding these claiming pairs. For those of you who just want to enjoy the show, the 8 goes in row 8, column 6. So you'll notice is that the 8s are limited to, in column 1 here, to rows 7 and 9, and also here in column 7, rows 7 and 9. So in block 8, the 8s have to be here along row 8, but we see an 8 in column 1 and an 8 in column 2. So there's only one space left for an 8, and it's right there. And it was in this position, with 27 cells remaining, that Simon cracked the puzzle. And so to make this easier, I switched over to another solving app that I use that shows all the candidates, and I kind of prove that you have naked hidden singles to the end. It's a little bit easier to solve this way. And so what Simon noticed first is that there's only one spot left for a 4 here in row 8. And then he went up here, and you can see these are all just naked singles now. And you can go through and solve the rest of the puzzle. So I think what Simon was trying to show, and did a really good job of, was how those claiming pairs work and how you can spot them and use that trick as an expert solver. This particular puzzle also really showed how well Snyder notation worked, because as soon as he solved something, Simon was able to move on to something else real quick and get through this solve much quicker. And what you'll notice too is when you're trying to get better and faster at solving these things, you want to look for those transitions. What type of techniques will get me to the next solve? In particular, how Simon went right here to row 4 because there's only 3 candidates remaining at the time to get that solve going. Other than missing that 1-6 pencil mark, Simon really breezed through that puzzle with little hesitation. Most of the viewer comments to the original puzzle discussed how they enjoyed the claiming pair logic as well as saying the virtues of the Snyder notation method. So, why do you think this was the most popular classic Sudoku video on Cracking the Cryptic? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Smart Hobbies so you don't miss any new content. Like I mentioned in my previous video, I have narrowed the focus of this channel moving forward to just Sudoku so I can provide a better experience for you, my subscribers. Please check out these other videos. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching.